week for the Crispy Chats, we spoke to someone, I think you will guess him. Left, right, left. That's right, Rajeev Khandelwal. Here's a look at the chat. Hi everyone. So speaking to News 9's page here today is everybody's favorite Rajeev Khandelwal. We all are a huge fan. I think every 90s kid and 20s kid must have watched Left, Right and Left. Rajeev, we still remember you as Captain Rajveer Singh Shekhawat. How do you feel? You have come so far from that space. You've begun earlier than that, of course. But I don't know, Captain remained in our head. We all cried when he died.
I mean, I'll be very honest, I haven't ever felt that I've come very far from those characters because they are still alive in so many minds and so many hearts. I keep bumping into people. I keep meeting police officers. I keep meeting naval officers, mostly women, who come up to me and they tell me that their inspiration was Captain Rajveer Singh Shekhawat. So there is still a cult following. So it has never ever so happened that suddenly the world has forgotten Captain Rajveer Singh Shekhawat, or for that matter, other characters that I played back in the day on television. So they have kept me alive, and I'm not joking and I'm not lying when I say that every, let's say, 6 months, I go to the airport and somebody or the other from the security team would walk up to me and give me a salute and say, "Sir, आपको पता है, आपको नहीं मालूम होगा, तब मैं बहुत छोटी थी, आज से 20 साल पहले, 15 साल पहले, 18 साल पहले मैंने कैप्टन राजवीर सिंह शेखावत को देखा था और वहीं से मुझे ये इंस्पिरेशन मिली थी." So yeah, I really don't feel that I've gone very far ahead.
Now let's come to Secrets of Selas, because I'm really interested about that. There was not much of the hubbub around the promotional activities. We did not see much of the interviews, much of the headlines. Still, the series has performed really well. So how do you think about, just the word of mouth and also the content quality?
So while we were out there trying to promote the series, we realized that we do not have a huge plan to go out and start screaming about our series. So we decided that this is definitely going to be one word of mouth kind of a series because whoever is going to watch the trailer would definitely be intrigued about the premise. The space is a very new space. It's a very refreshing space. We knew that there has not been too many content on treasure hunt in our country.
Yeah.
Be it films or be it series. So we were very sure that whoever is going to watch the trailer would come out to just see the space. That let's watch what is this. Especially in today's day and age where most of the content that we consume is very complicated, dark, or it's an extremist kind of a content, either this side or that side. So this one was a very, let's say, a very refreshing thing for me to attempt and also to present both. So we were very sure that once it comes out, and definitely word of mouth is going to take it very far, and it did. And we were quite surprised. The platform was surprised, so were we, that this is really doing well. For me, the kind of organic reaction, so I gauge the success of anything by the organic reaction that you get, not by the numbers which I put out there, because numbers can be always managed, manipulated, fudged or whatever. So I realized that within a couple of days of it coming out, I was meeting people who were talking to me about Shiledar, and they were, especially, let's say in Maharashtra, where Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is like really huge. I was bumping into people who would not charge me things because they would say that हमारे शिलेदार आ गए, those kind of things were happening there. But yeah, and then when I traveled to UP, I realized it's not just the Maharashtra belt. There are also people from North who are consuming it and they're liking it. Also, I think one reason why it worked was because it appeals to almost everyone. We all have a kid in us. We all love treasure hunts, especially when a treasure hunt is mixed with the fiction, with the facts that we have read in history and the fiction that we can relate to. It just becomes an interesting watch. So I think that those are the reasons why it worked.
But Marathi is not your first language. So how did you prepare for it? Because you appeared very fluent and very well versed with it.
So Marathi is not my first language, but thankfully I didn't have to play a hardcore Maharashtrian in this one. I had to play someone who is a Maharashtrian from his heart, but was born and raised in Bangalore by people who weren't of Marathi origin. So I just had to inculcate the values and the love for Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, which is very high in Maharashtra. And I think also what made it easy for me was the fact that about 70% of the crew, or maybe more, were Maharashtrians. The director, the co-actors, majority of them were all Maharashtrians. So I could only hear Marathi on the sets. I was only eating Marathi food, and I was in the company of all these wonderful Maharashtrian people. So that made it a lot easier for me.
Let's also talk about Showtime, because I've seen that series as well. If I could speak to you about the cast ensemble one in Showtime, and if we compare the viewership with Shiledar, do you think that, despite of having so many big faces at one particular project, Shiledar has still surpassed the viewership wise? If we were to compare Showtime as well as Shiledar is far beyond in terms of the viewership with Showtime. So do you think that ensemble cast in today's era do make a difference, or it's just the content's power that's speaking louder?
So you're right. I mean, not that Showtime was not liked. Showtime was also kind of appreciated. But when it comes to numbers, the number of people who have watched this one is I think way more than the number of people who watched Showtime. Though we expected a lot of people to watch Showtime because it was Karan Johar and the space was such that we thought would be very exciting for the viewers. So they did see, but this one had way more number of people watching it. And this proves one thing for sure to me, which I've always very strongly believed in, that being strong on social media doesn't translate into numbers. So we had all these actors, who had massive following on social media. They had massive presence on social media. And here we were. I am hardly there on social media. I think Barish Sai, nobody else was very active or big on social media. And but the number of people who came, who saw the series were way more. So this actually is a study of sorts, where that are the numbers fake when it comes to social media, or does social media fool us, which I very strongly believe in, that it actually is a tool to fool you, whether it's your own glory or whether it's or people who are criticizing you. I think the lesser you are there, the better it is for your sensibility. So I think it's always the content that matters, that I've always believed in right from the beginning. And nothing can be way more powerful, because we've seen people who have massive, let's say, presence on social media, or that's what it comes across like. I do not know how many of them are hollow and how many of them are genuine, but it at least comes across as somebody who has a massive following. So by that logic, that should work in every field, in every sphere of life, because you already have such a dedicated audience. But it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't translate like that. And someone like me who's never been who's never been very active on social media, this reaffirms my faith that believe in your belief system, then in what the world has to say to you.
I would want to ask you your interest from period dramas, where you have had contemporary roles, to the very different kind that you have started picking up. It's a very new arena for you. How do you find this? Like, what are your thoughts about it? And are you somebody who loves to experiment with the kind of roles that will be there in the pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at my career, you'll only see that I have only been experimenting. I mean, I never the genres. I never played the romantic guy ever again after the first few years of my career, because I realized that it comes very easy to me. I just started believing that I can romance a tree. You give me a tree, I can do that, because I just felt that comes very easy to me. I just felt. So I said, I do not want to be a captive of my comfort zone. I wanted to experiment. I wanted to break my own belief system, my own mindset that romance to कर ही लूँगा, चल ठीक है, कब तक लड़कियों का प्यार आपको मिलता रहेगा. And I didn't want to be the types who would only want love from a certain section of our society or a certain sex, for that matter. And I also wanted to feel good when somebody would come and compliment me as an actor. I am someone who lives with his conscience, someone who wants to believe that I'm a good actor before taking a compliment that Rajeev, you are a good actor. And for that, I had to first believe that I am a good actor, not because the world is telling me that I'm a good actor. And that would only happen when I keep experimenting, when I keep changing the mediums as well. When I do television, then I do films, and then I do OTT. And if I'm accepted everywhere, is probably one way for me to believe that yes, I am accepted. If I'm hosting a show, I'm accepted. Um, when I'm doing a film, I'm accepted. When I'm doing television, I'm accepted. And I keep switching also. I should be accepted because people don't love me because of a medium. They love me because, or they should love me for my performance. That's what I strive to achieve in life. That's what I want to be. That someone who is, even if I'm speaking on a platform which is just a stage, if I have it in me, I should be acknowledged, I should be appreciated, I should be liked, and I should be loved. So that is why I keep experimenting, and I'm still open to. It's so amazing and funny that even though you've spent about more than 2 decades in the industry, you still feel like a newcomer. You still get nervous on day 1, day 2 of the sets. You still feel there is so much more to do. You still feel I have hardly done anything. Even though I walk up into my room which is a very, let's say, which plays the narcissist side of mine, when I and I see my own work, I still feel ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं किया तूने. Even though somewhere a corner of me would gloat and say, हाँ ये भी किया तूने, host भी किया तूने, ये भी किया, well done Rajeev, well done, और कितना नहीं किया. But still you feel that you have hardly done anything. Also, I think I've taken so many breaks in between that I still feel each time I'm coming out to meet the audience, I just feel it is probably for the first time. How will they react? Will they like me? Will they appreciate my work? Will they see what I bring in on the table? So yeah, it's still very exciting and very new for me.
So you're extremely versatile. You have already mentioned you have done films, you have done OTT, you were part of the television series ever, you have hosted show. On that part, I want to ask you, which of these you've enjoyed the most and you found the most challenging one? Also, what keeps you grounded despite all of these years and all of the work that you have done?
See, one thing, I'll answer the second part of the question first. I've always believed that ground is the place to live. You can't be flying just because 10 others make you try and give you wings. You should know that you are supposed to live here. So I think I've never left my roots, and that's what has kept me who I am. And I wouldn't say that's a great quality. I think everyone should be grounded because that's where you're supposed to live. Do not start flying because 10 others, as I just said, may try and make you believe that you have wings. So that's the second part of it. And the first part, the most challenging part as a performer for me has been, and the most enjoyable also, has been when I was hosting Sach Kasam, because that was something which was very, very organic. I didn't have any script. I had to be present in that moment. I had about 12 cameras around me. I had decided not to use teleprompter for many episodes because I was there. And it was a very tricky show. It was a show where I had to be myself, along with the contestant. Of course, the show was all about the contestant. But for me also, I was playing Rajeev Khandelwal, who I am. So whoever I am, those who know me, they could see me there sitting, feeling for people, and so it was very challenging in the beginning because it was so unnerving, to be there and with the live audience and without any, even though they were recorded episodes, but they were still being shot like a live show without too many breaks. So that was very unnerving and very exciting. And other than that, like I said, every project, my first series called Kahin To Hoga, which brought me a lot of fame, was probably that was the most challenging because I came completely without any acting experience. So I was learning on the ground. I used to be very hardworking, but I used to cringe each time I would see myself on screen, and I used to wonder how can women like this man, which is being played by me. But then that's how it was, and I was still learning in my first show. So that was the most challenging. Once I kind of got hold of my, let's say, my nerves post that first series, I think it's just the first couple of days when I'm trying to get into the skin of the character, which is very scary for me. Otherwise, then you start enjoying.